until October 7th, there were high hopes for big changes in the Middle East. Talk of US-mediated peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which in turn would spread to other Arab countries, created much anticipation. But then, after thousands of Hamas terrorists rampaged through southern Israeli communities and IDF bases, slaughtering, burning, and kidnapping everything in their path, the delicate house of cards collapsed.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia affirms its categorical rejection of the continuation of aggression, occupation, and the forced displacement of Gaza's population. The Kingdom holds the occupation authorities responsible for the crimes committed against the Palestinian people and their properties. We are certain that the only way to guarantee security, peace, and stability in the region is to end the occupation, siege, and settlements.
But sidelining Israel-Saudi normalization for the unforeseeable future was only one of the effects of that dark October 7th on the region. It also saw the solidification of the Iranian axis of proxies. From Iraq to Lebanon, all the way to Yemen, Tehran's branches all began to attack Israel.
We're
in a multi-arena war. We are being attacked from 7 different sectors: Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Judea and Samaria, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran. We have already responded and taken action. And I say here in the most explicit way, anyone who acts against us is a potential target. There is no immunity for anyone.
In an attempt to get a better understanding of how the region as a whole was affected by the October 7th attacks, I-24 News reached out to journalists in the region to give their perspective. One of them is a journalist from Yemen. We blurred his face and distorted his voice for his safety, speaking with an Israeli-based news outlet.
أثرت هذه العملية في زيادة مسألة الصراع بين في المنطقة، وأثرت أيضا على خط الملاحة الدولي في البحر الأحمر وباب المندب وقناة السويس.
Perhaps the most surprising front to many has been the continuous drone and missile attacks by the Houthis in Yemen towards Israeli territory, and then at international commercial ships navigating through the Red Sea.
The Yemeni armed forces affirmed their continued support for the Palestinian people as part of their religious, moral, and humanitarian duty, and confirmed the continuation of operations in the Red Sea and the Arabian Sea against Israeli ships or those heading to the ports of occupied Palestine, until the food and medicine needed by the Gaza Strip are brought in.
But according to the journalist in Yemen, the Houthis are simply the ones pulling the trigger in service of their patrons.
الحوثيين ما هم إلا أداة في إيران وينفذوا ما يخدم مصالح إيران في المنطقة. بالتالي نحن نعلم أن إيران ليس من مصلحتها السلام. يعني إيران تتغذى على الحروب، تتغذى على الصراعات، يعني أنتم ترون ما كان يحدث وما يزال يحدث في بلادنا. اليمن من حروب بالمثالة مع إسرائيل.
Beyond emboldening the Iranian axis, the October 7th attacks also seem to have affected the streets in many of the region's capitals in support of the Palestinians.
I see a lot of change among the awareness of ordinary people who never really paid attention to political issues of the Palestinian situation. I've seen, especially in Arab countries, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, many of the countries are really much more involved now. And I think we've seen also progressives and young people around the world taking up the Palestinian cause in a much more powerful way than we've ever seen before.
Like the journalist in Yemen, Kutab too believes that the war in Gaza has put a strain on Israel's existing peace agreements with Jordan and Egypt.
Both peace treaties have held on so far, but on a very thin ice. I think that there is strong opposition in both countries to their countries continuing the peace agreements. But more importantly, I think people want civilian lives to be saved.
Besides threats, there are some silver linings that have emerged from the horrific attacks on Israel and the ensuing war in Gaza. Not only the American-led maritime coalition aimed at ensuring the safe navigation in the Red Sea, but that Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Jordan all intercepted Houthi drones and missiles over their territories on their way to Israel. an indication that Jerusalem does have shared strategic interests in the balance of power in the Middle East.
Well, I think Arab countries are trying to be peacemakers as much as they can. They're trying to provide material support to people who are in terrible need. And I don't think we've seen a major shift, especially in countries that have had normalization relations with Israel. Their leaders are still insisting on keeping some form of relationship, even though public opinion has changed.
نتمنى ان تكون هناك يعني سريعا حل هذه المشكله التي حصلت في غزه، عوده الاسرى الاسرائيليين الذين اعتقلتهم حماس في هجومها على دوله اسرائيل، وبالتالي كذلك على اسرائيل مسؤوليه اخلاقيه في وقف الحرب تجاه حماس او تجاه غزه.
And so, with the war in Gaza in full steam and further escalation with Hezbollah on the horizon, the October 7th attacks seem to have changed not only Israel, but the region as a whole. Now, Israel finds itself at a critical juncture: a regional war or increased regional cooperation. Whether or not it's up to Israel to decide what the outcome will be, that still remains to be seen.